Hi there, I'm Ian Ballantyne, a Developer Relations Engineer on the Google Ads API team. I've been working with Performance Max since the early days of the introduction of the campaign to Google Ads API, and I'm excited to share with you the core product features of PMax and how you can use Google Ads API to accelerate your integration and scale your advertising. For those not familiar with Performance Max, it is a fully automated, omni-channel campaign type that uses Google AI to optimize towards business goals. It is designed to make it easier for businesses to reach their marketing goals without the need to make micro adjustments, freeing them to focus on their business. Now, if you are growing one or more businesses, you will need a solution that scales, and that's where Google Ads API comes in, enabling you to programmatically configure each PMax campaign to meet the specific needs of the business across multiple accounts. So if you're a developer interested in understanding more about how PMax works so you can implement it in your advertising product, then this is the talk for you. Let's get started. Let's say you provide a platform for businesses to advertise their products on Google. Assuming a medium to large business, you might have over 1 million products and a brand to advertise. For each product, you need media to present the product as ads, such as images, videos, descriptions, and more. Now, traditionally, you would need to decide which products to advertise and adjust auction bids and where to target. You may also need to manage audiences to target those products so that the right product is presented to the right person. Then there is the question of the channel you want to target: shopping, search, display network, YouTube, or more. How many different creatives are needed for display? What keywords will be needed for search? What video creation will be required for YouTube? Each of these channels will have siloed metrics telling you what is working and what is not for your targeting. This already feels overwhelming. You could have hundreds or even thousands of customers, all with different products, audiences, and needs. Now, imagine this is just one of hundreds of businesses that you need to manage. You can see very quickly the combinations are complex, and that's where PMax comes in. PMax is different from traditional campaign types in that it uses Google AI to automatically optimize your campaigns for conversions. This means that you don't have to spend time manually managing your bids, keywords, or ad creatives. Instead, you can focus on creating high-quality assets and goals that are relevant to your business. PMax will then use this information to create and deliver personalized ads to your target audience. PMax supports a number of key business objectives such as lead generation, product sales, store goals, and more. I will cover more of these objectives in the business goals session. The paradigm shift from traditional campaign types to PMax can be a challenge not only for the advertisers but also for you, the developers. It's also an opportunity to create new, innovative solutions that are simpler to manage and can unlock opportunities not available through traditional advertising. To summarize, here is what PMax can provide. 1. Unlock new audiences across Google's channels and networks. 2. It can drive better performance against your goals. 3. You can get more transparent insights from your reporting. 4. It can steer automation with your campaign inputs. And 5. It can simplify campaign management and optimize your ads. So what does this PMax workflow look like from an advertiser perspective? Let's use the Google Ads user interface to explain. Let's take a look at how to create and manage PMax campaigns in the Google Ads UI. First, you'll need to create an objective for your campaign. This could be anything from generating leads to driving online sales. As part of this, you'll need to select a conversion goal, which we will explain in more detail in the business goals section. Put simply, this is the objective that will influence the bidding strategy for the campaign. Once you've created a goal, you'll need to select your preferred bidding strategy. PMax simplifies the complexity of choosing this by focusing on 2: maximizing conversions and maximizing conversion value. You also have the option to set a target cost per acquisition, a target CPA, or a target return on ad spend, a target ROAS. We'll cover more on how you choose these in the business goals section. Next, you'll decide which regions and languages you would like to target. Other settings can be configured for the campaign, such as start dates and end dates. This is also where enabling such features as final URL expansion are configured. We'll talk about this and where it is in a later session. Next, you'll need to create an ad asset. and this is where we get to the clever part. These can include images, videos, headlines, and descriptions. PMax will use these assets and create customized ads that are relevant to your target audience. For now, we'll focus on the concept that you will set up one or more asset groups, and these will become the basis for the ads for your campaign to show users. You can see here we have the option to automatically generate assets from the relevant websites, product pages, without needing to specify which ones. As part of the announcements we made in Google Marketing Live, we've rolled out the ability to use Google AI to generate different types of assets, including headlines, descriptions, videos, and images. In the Google Ads UI, you're in control of how much you use this in your campaign. To understand more about how generating assets work for Google Ads, you can see more information in the following link. We're exploring ways to empower you to use the generative AI creative features available today in the Google Ads UI at scale. And since these tools have been purpose-built for advertising, they help drive strong performance using ad data. We'd love to hear your feedback and ideas on the use cases that would be most impactful for your business. Once you've configured your assets, you will be able to see a preview of how they might look. If you provide a third-party interface for the advertiser to configure their campaigns, then you might want to think about how you can present this style of preview to your customers. Helping end advertisers see the connection between the information they provide and the ads that will appear helps them understand the value proposition, as they can put themselves in the position of the consumer looking at their business. This is one of the features of the product that you will need to decide how best to support in your own integration. Once you have one or more asset groups constructed, then you can add additional signals and start measuring the performance of the asset group using reporting. Now you can add what we call signals to help guide Google AI in finding the customers for your ads. These include audience signals and search themes, both of which we will discuss later in this session. Finally, once you are happy your campaign is configured correctly, you are ready to launch your campaign, and PMax will then automatically optimize your campaign to get you the best results for your budget. The next step of the process is to monitor the campaign through insights and reporting and make adjustments. This is a comprehensive area, so we'll cover more about it in the reporting session. There is a wealth of information from asset reports showing how your creators are doing to search term insight reports to understand how users on search channels are discovering your ads. We also have a recommendation system that suggests improvements that you can make to your campaigns, many of which can be applied directly using the Google Ads API. These recommendations are automatically generated by Google to advise you on how your campaigns can be optimized with information specific to the given campaign. It is up to you and the advertiser which recommendations to apply, so the control remains firmly in your hands. As you can see, there are many opportunities to provide useful suggestions and recommendations for users of your own platforms and interfaces. Although not specific to Performance Max, it is important to note that PMax supports many features of account-level brand safety. This includes, but is not limited to, controls over content type exclusions, such as gambling sites, placement exclusions, such as specific sites, apps, or videos, keyword exclusions, which is applied to the video and display channels, brand exclusions, which is configured at campaign level, negative keyword exclusions, which is applied to the search and shopping channels, topic exclusions, which prevents ads serving on sites with a given topic. You can see there are a lot of different considerations when creating a Performance Max campaign, but what are the important considerations when using Google Ads API to create and manage a PMax campaign? Let's take a look. Firstly, let's address a very important point. The Google Ads UI can act as a reference for you to design your own product interface. Your workflow should be built to serve the needs of your customers with the data you have to guide this process. Google aims to demonstrate the features of PMax we see that will provide the most value to advertisers as they embark on their journey. At the end of the day, you understand your customers best and which features they can best utilize. When you request guidance on what you need to build, that is where the recommendations, hints, and tips come in. Secondly, let's talk briefly about the order in which campaigns are constructed in the UI compared to the API. Based on where some aspects of the product are configured in the API, you may need to construct the campaign in a slightly different order to the workflow that I've just shown you. So let me give you an example. Campaign targeting settings such as location and language are configured as campaign criteria. In the API, the campaign ID is taken as an argument for creating the campaign criteria, and hence campaign creation needs to be done first. Luckily, you can use temporary identifiers to indicate a campaign that is not yet created, especially if you are creating the campaign as part of a batch operation. We will cover this in more detail during our Code Lab session, creating your own PMAX interface, so please stay tuned for that. The main thing I want you to take away is when using the Ads UI as a reference, you may be aware that the sequencing is not the same as the order in which they are executed in the API. Hopefully this diagram will help you understand where the order is different. In some cases, there will be functionality in the Google Ads UI that is in beta and not available in the Google Ads API at the current time. Google is constantly innovating in this space, and once we have the signals that these features are universally helpful, we will typically invest in providing them in other services, including the Google Ads API. During this workshop, we will focus on the features you can use today in the API. We look forward to launching more of these features in the near future, so keep an eye out on upcoming API releases, announcements, and from various channels. Now, let's dig deeper into the features mentioned in this workflow and the implications for API development. Performance Max offers two main bidding strategies, maximize conversion and maximize conversion value. Both have the ability to specify a target. For maximize conversions, the target is cost per action, or CPA. For maximize conversion value, the target is return on ad spend, or ROAS. You can see the decision here is already much simpler than for options available with other campaign types, and it fits in naturally with aligning with the business goals. The next concept is assets. PMAX uses the concept of assets to create personalized ads. These assets can include images, videos, or text such as headlines and descriptions. Conceptually, a good way to think of these is instead of having to prepare thousands of variants of ad creatives, Google AI selects from a combination of assets that you have provided and matches them with a user at serving time with the goal of providing you the most relevant ad for your product or business. We also demonstrated the ability to use generated assets in your campaigns. In the Google Ads API, you have the ability to control which assets are used, and we will talk about that more in the assets session. At GML, we announced more insights, some of which are available today through our reporting interface for Google Ads API. For more detail on insights and metrics you can access, we'll cover this in the reporting session later on in the workshop. In this high-level example, you can see we have to construct a text asset, in this case, book travel. Next, we will need to make sure we have created the asset group first. Finally, we create an asset group asset to link the title to the asset group, such as headline. We have a dedicated asset session later on in the workshop going into more detail about the steps and how to do this for other asset types. If you want to drive online local sales of your product from a Merchant Center account, then you will need to understand how listener group filters allow you to select which groups of products to advertise. You can think of this as a tree-like data structure where each node represents a property of the products that you would like to include or exclude. For example, you can use filters to group associated products such as product category, product condition, or brand, the purpose of which is for bidding and reporting. The bidding is handled automatically by Google AI, but you can access the asset group to see how these different product groups are performing. Listener groups also work with final URL expansion, so make sure you check out that feature. Page feeds allow you to specify which URLs to use in ads for your Performance Max campaign. When you provide a page feed for your landing pages, it helps Google Ads check that all relevant pages are indexed and determine when to show your ads and where to direct people to on your website. Note that you may need to make sure that text assets with final URL is turned on to enable this feature in PMAX. Enabling final URL in your Performance Max campaign allows your campaign to replace your final URL with a more relevant landing page from the final URL domain based on the user's search intent. You still have control to specify which URLs in your domain that you want to exclude from being served, such as administrator pages. This feature is enabled by default, but you can use the API to disable it as required. Brand settings allow you to only serve traffic for specific brand queries for search and shopping surfaces in PMAX campaigns. You can configure these settings to make sure that ads don't serve for specific brands that you specify. You might choose to do this to avoid a specific competitor, or if you're deliberately targeting your own brand in another campaign. Search themes are words and phrases your customers use to find your offerings to help Performance Max campaigns reach the right audience. You can think of these as signals you are providing to Google's AI to help expand user reach. It's worth noting that negative keywords on the account still apply, and that on search networks they will have the same priority as phrase match and broad match keywords. Those are just a few of the important PMax concepts. Hopefully now you will have some good understanding of some of the functionality you can enable in Performance Max. It would be impossible to talk about PMax without mentioning Google AI. We've seen that Google AI is used in a variety of different ways in PMax, including bidding and optimizing to reach your audiences and goals, auto-generating assets and preparing creatives, personalizing advertising to provide the most relevant ad for the user. It is a powerful tool to simplify your advertising management, and throughout this workshop we will mention the places where you can utilize it to meet your business goals. The best way to experience Google AI is to see what value it brings for Performance Max campaigns firsthand. In future sessions we will talk about how you can report on performance of assets, progress towards your goals such as return on ad spend, and we'll talk more about how you can try Performance Max, especially alongside existing campaign types later on. We're excited about bringing the power of Performance Max campaigns to you at scale with Google Ads API. I hope you now have a better understanding of what is possible with the product, and stay tuned to learn more about how you can put that into practice with our other sessions. In the next session, I will be hosting on business goals. We will dive deeper into the business objectives that can be achieved with the Performance Max, and how you can configure a campaign and targeting using the API. In this session, you also saw a peek into asset creation such as headlines, descriptions, and marketing images. In the session on assets, we will dive deep into how you can structure API calls to configure them and what requirements are and what you need to fulfill. We talked a lot about the different features you can configure, but how do you know if it's working correctly? Well, that's what reporting is for. We will discuss the insights possible with the Google Ads API and how that can be used to influence your decisions in PMax campaigns. So thank you for attending, and see you soon.